Hello, we are here for one more lesson of SprutCAM video training course. Today we will talk about SprutCAM sketch. Continuing what we've seen in the previous lesson, where to remember we talk about the construction of 2D drawings. This is basically a very similar tool as the purpose of the sketch. It is to easily create and manipulate parametric 2D geometry, which each one of you can use to define parts, fixtures, jobs, all the different possibilities and capabilities that SprutCAM has to complement the creation of toolpaths and machining toolpaths. So we've seen that on the drawing we have this function called drawing, and on the sketch on the side we have this icon where when we click it we get this kind of appearance in our screen. So we have a couple of functions. The purpose, it is also to create 2D geometry, which as it is parametric, can be changed a little more easily than if it is a regular 2D geometry. In the future, for the next releases of SprutCAM, both of these things, the CAD and the sketch, probably will join together and will create a single tool. But for the moment, we have these two types of possibilities to create these 2D entities and geometry. Couple of very simple examples to show you how to deal with this sketch. So we can create several types of entities. We can create, for example, a box by 2 points or by center. So clicking one point and another one, and we get this kind of geometry with dimensions on the geometry. It is important to notice also that on the tree of events, of elements we have on the left side of our screen, we get a new entry called sketch, and if we create new sketches, we can have a lot of them, we'll get new entries, sketch 1, sketch 2, and so on. Under each of the sketch we have simple elements, in this particular case or the contours or the elements that compose these contours. So we can handle these on a very similar way as the drawing we've seen in our previous lesson. So for now I will delete these entities, simply going on top, okay, and delete it, or coming into this place here and also make a delete, something like this. And we can go again and create, for example, now a box like this one and have a similar effect. We can also create, for example, let's increase this a little, circles like this. All of the entities get dimensions attached. So if we click in one, not in this case, if we click on top of one dimension, we get this small entry box where we can insert a new dimension, and we'll get the elements and the geometry properly updated. We can create a circle, for example, tangent to these two circles or to the other geometry, where simply clicking on the shift and then on top of the geometry we get a tangent circle to these two entities. We have also the possibility to choose entities with the selection, and then we get this additional toolbar where we can insert new things. and most of these are known. So chamfer, fillet. We can make a feature which is to lower the degree of construction we have in our geometry, or simply make a delete, or creating this type of relations, the parallels, the equal, the perpendicular. So we can create a lot of things with this additional toolbar. But for example, we can do a rounding, and okay, we have this rounding here. Now let's edit the value, for example 40, and we get this kind of change on the geometry also. We can use also this tool here, which is a draft and trim at the same time. So we can create this type of geometry, and if we make the same thing but simply selecting or touching the geometry, we can make a delete. So also a couple of nice possibilities. For example, can make a trim like this one, so where I touch only on the side of the entity which I want to make a delete. I can also choose dimensions to insert to create these parametrics on the entities. For example, choosing from one point to this entity, and now if I have a dimension, I can change it. I can do this also as an angle like this. So a lot of different possibilities which basically are not much different from the function called drawing. We have a couple more commands here, like the increase the font of the texts of the dimensions, or decrease these as an option also. Besides, we can open a file with sketch, not properly a sketch yet, but we can open a geometry to grab it and to handle it under this function. And we can also save this in different types of formats, which allow us also to export this to other software, CAD or CAM. It depends on what the user wants to make use of this. So this is a complement of the drawing. You can either use the drawing side or the sketch side. Even that at this moment, I would say that the drawing, it is a little more powerful. Even that at the first look, checking these possibilities of the sketch, the user may think that this is a little more convenient, but I would say the drawing side, it is a little more flexible for the moment. We will see what will happen on the next releases, but again, probably we will join these functions of the parametrics with the drawing commands that we've seen in the other video. So I hope that these simple examples of the possibilities we have here were easy and clear enough to make you understand a little better these sketch issues. But if there are any questions or any points not so clear, you can reach us through the usual channels, and you can also check what we have in our online platform, where there are a little more detailed description of these commands, and also a couple of examples about what is possible to do with the sketch.